People in the valley used to laugh at him, not because he was cruel, not because he was strange, but because to them he looked useless. While others rushed through life like they were being chased, he moved slowly. While others argued, he listened. While others fought the world, he seemed to let the world pass through him. His name was Shen, and the villagers called him the man who did nothing.
Wei came to the river with a jar, a heavy clay jar wrapped in cloth, hugged to his chest like a child. His sleeves were damp at the cuffs. His face was thinner than last season. Mists lay on the water like wet ash. Reeds moved in slow waves. Shen sat on a flat river stone, watching a leaf circle once, then drift on. Wei didn't greet him. He set the jar down carefully, as if it might crack from shame. Shen poured tea into 2 small clay cups. The steam rose, then disappeared into the cold. Wei's voice came out tight. "I did what Han said." Shen didn't answer. Wei looked at the jar. "Han said the river changes. The seasons change. People change." Wei swallowed. "But metal stays." He gave a small, bitter laugh. He said if I could save enough, I could go to the capital school one day. Not as a farmer's son, not as just Wei, as someone seen. Shen's eyes stayed on the current. Wei's fingers worried the cloth around the jar. "So I saved." A pause. Not proud. Not anymore. "I ate less. I stopped fixing the roof. When rain came through, I moved my mat instead of buying new straw. When my sandals split, I tied them with reed." Wei's throat moved. "And every night I dropped coins inside. Clink. Clink." He stared at Shen like he wanted permission to hate himself. It felt like progress. Shen took 1 sip of tea. Wei continued, faster now, like confession. "In the morning I worked, at night I counted. I didn't sleep well. But when the jar sounded full, I thought maybe I was safe." Shen finally spoke. "What happened?" Wei's jaw tightened. "This morning I carried it to the market." He lifted the jar slightly, as if his arms still remembered the weight. "I walked like a man with armor. People saw it and moved aside. I thought today I'd buy winter." Wei's eyes went distant. "A sack of rice, a warm vest, maybe medicine for my mother, and still have coins left." His voice cracked. "I thought I would finally breathe." Shen waited. Wei exhaled hard. "The seller weighed my coins." Wei's hands mimicked the scene, palms out, offering. "And then he took rice off the scale, right in front of me. 1 scoop, then less. He kept removing handfuls until the scale balanced." Wei's face reddened again. Not anger, humiliation. "I said, 'No, that's not right. I have a full jar.' He didn't argue. He didn't insult me. He just looked tired, like this happens every day." Wei's voice dropped. "He said the capital printed more copper. He said copper is everywhere now. He said my jar is heavy, but it's not worth what it used to be." Wei stared down at the jar as if it had teeth. "I stood there with all my safety in my arms, and it was shrinking. Not the jar, the meaning." Shen nodded once. Wei's shoulders slumped. "I walked home with the jar heavier than before. Not from weight, from stupid." He pressed his lips together. "I starved for nothing."
The river made a small sound against stone. A quiet slap. Then nothing. Wei looked up, eyes sharp now. "So what was I supposed to do? Spend it all?
Be reckless like the men who drink their pay? At least their bellies are warm for one night. Shen's gaze didn't change. He reached toward the jar. Wei stiffened, instinctively protective. Shen didn't take the whole jar. He only took one coin from the cloth fold, one fat copper coin, dull from handling. He held it between two fingers. Then, from his sleeve, he took something else. A dry bean, small, wrinkled, almost nothing. Wei frowned. Shen stood and walked to the muddy edge of the riverbank. He crouched, slow, as if time was not chasing him. He pressed the bean into the mud. Then he pressed the coin into the mud beside it. 2 small burials, 2 small secrets. Shen wiped his fingers on his robe. "Come back in a week," he said. Wei stared at him. "That's it?" Shen sat again. The tea cooled. The mist moved. Wei wanted to argue. He wanted a method, a plan, a list. But Shen gave him only a week. So Wei left. The week was not gentle. Rain came twice. The roof leaked again. Wei shifted his mat again, and the old anger returned, hot and familiar. He thought about smashing the jar. He thought about taking the coins and buying food just to punish himself. He didn't. He waited. When the 7th morning came, Wei returned to the river. Shen was already there. Same stone, same posture, same silence. Shen nodded toward the mud. Wei crouched. His hands were cold. He scraped gently. First, where the bean had been. A green shoot pushed up through the mud, thin but alive. It trembled in the wind like a small animal learning to stand. Wei blinked. Then Shen scraped where the coin had been. He lifted it. Same coin. Dirty, cold, dead. He held both in his palm, green shoot beside mud-stained metal. "One is alive," Shen said. "One is dead." Wei stared. His throat moved, but no words came. Shen continued, quiet. "You tried to grow a harvest from dead metal." Wei finally spoke. "But metal is safe." "Safe things don't grow." Wei's face tightened. "I wasn't trying to be greedy. I was trying to be secure." Shen nodded once. Security that does not breathe becomes a cage. Wei swallowed, and his voice softened. "So what do I do now?" Shen set the coin down on the stone. "Keep a little," he said, "so you don't drown." Then he pointed to the river. "But don't build your life out of it." Wei watched the water. It flowed and left nothing behind. Yet everything on the bank existed because of it. Wei's breathing grew louder. "But learning is good," Wei said. "I wanted to grow." Shen nodded once. "Growing is good. Being owned is not." Wei flinched at that word, owned, because he knew the feeling, the way the jar controlled his meals, the way the jar controlled his sleep, the way the jar made him proud when he should have been warm. Wei looked down. "So what do I do?" he asked. "Just accept being ignored? Accept that Han will choose someone else for the capital school? Accept that my name won't be seen?" Shen's eyes stayed flat. Don't confuse being ignored with being spared. Wei's jaw tightened. Spared from what? Shen didn't answer immediately. He tapped the coin once with his fingertip. Clink. "From becoming someone's tool," Shen said. Wei's stomach tightened.
He remembered the officials in the market, the way they looked at buyers like numbers. He remembered Han praising him for saving, not caring that Wei's hands shook from hunger. Wei whispered. Han said metal never rots. Shen's voice stayed low. Metal doesn't rot, but men rot around it. Wei's face twisted. So I should spend it all? Shen shook his head. No, you should move it. Wei frowned. Move it where? Shen stood and began walking along the riverbank. Wei followed. They passed reeds and stones and the shallow place where boys sometimes fished. Shen stopped where the ground rose slightly and turned toward the village. Buy 2 hens, Shen said. Wei blinked. Hens? Shen nodded. They eat what you don't see. They find insects in the dirt. They turn scraps into eggs. They make tomorrow without asking permission from the capital. Wei stared, trying to understand. Shen continued, calm as ever. A jar only holds what you put inside. A hen goes outside and returns with value. Wei let out a breath, half laugh, half disbelief. That's your wisdom? Chickens? Shen looked at him, not amused, not offended, just steady. You want a life that grows, Shen said. Stop worshipping what sits still. Wei's eyes dropped to the jar. His pride fought back. The jar was his effort, his suffering, his proof. Then he looked at the green shoot by the mud. Alive, small, unimpressive, but alive. Wei swallowed. That afternoon he took the jar home. He didn't smash it. He opened it. The coins looked the same as yesterday, but he saw them differently now, like stones in his hands. He kept a small portion, not heroic, not dramatic, just enough to breathe. With the rest, he went to the market again. He bought 2 thin hens. They looked ridiculous, bony, half-feathered, more attitude than meat. The seller smirked. Wei carried them anyway. The first days were awkward. They ran from him, they pecked his fingers, they screamed at nothing. But they ate bugs from the yard, free food, hidden food. A week later, 1 egg appeared in the straw. 1. Wei held it like a message. He ate half, he sold half. With the coin, he bought more straw for the roof. Not all of it, just a patch. But when the rain came, 1 corner stayed dry. Wei slept there, and for the first time in a long time, he slept without counting. Days passed. Eggs became 2, then 3. The roof slowly stopped dripping in the worst place. His mat stopped smelling like wet wood. His mother's cough softened. The jar grew lighter, not because Wei was losing, because he was no longer worshipping weight. One evening, Wei carried the jar to the shelf. Not hidden under the bed, not hugged like a god. He placed it where anyone could see it. He poured the remaining coins out. Clatter. Not proud, not ashamed, just sound. Then he picked up 1 egg and set it inside the empty jar, a small white curve in a clay belly. Shen stood at the doorway watching. Wei didn't turn. He spoke quietly, like admitting something to the river. I thought a full jar meant I was safe. Shen didn't answer right away. The hens clucked outside. Wind slid through bamboo. Then Shen said 1 last line, soft and clean. A closed jar keeps coins. An open hand keeps life.